What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here bringing you the video. Today I'm bringing you a video first thing in the morning, actually. So my hair's a mess, I'm a mess, it's morning, but I wanted to finally bring the review episode 3 now of Orange Ninja Steel. Fortunately my roommate's out, so I actually can do this first thing in the morning today, which is nice. So I wanted to do episode 3, Live and Learn. This episode's pretty cool. It's a pretty significant episode. A lot of stuff happens. New modes are introduced. New weapons are new items are introduced. A whole bunch of things are introduced, and it's a good episode. So what happens is we end up starting off with Galvanox wanting to have a monster be summoned. This monster is Spinferno, as we've seen in the preview clip. I didn't do the other preview clip because that one came out like the other day and I really didn't have time for it. On Friday, I believe it was. I just really didn't have time for it. It's no big deal. I'm reviewing the episode anyway now. Anyway, what happens is that Spinferno will go down and attack the Rangers or whatever. Suddenly we see that them actually speaking with Mick, who and they're in their training uniforms, which are the uniforms that they have when they transform. So it makes sense in a way. Apparently that's what they're referring to them as, like their training uniforms when they're preparing for training and stuff like that. And Mick ends up using the ninja steel that they got from Brody's father. They converted it into elemental stars. The elemental stars are the ones that allow them to perform different elemental attacks. So the attacks can range from fire, water, earth, forest, and metal. Those are the 5 types of attacks that they can do with the shuriken, and the way that it works is that they twist the shuriken slightly, or ninja star slightly, and the ninja star will switch between the different elemental typings. And whatever you have it set as, you then spin, and then it will come into play. So, for example, Calvin starts off by trying out the water water attack, and he ends up failing miserably. Then they're like, oh, maybe we should try the fire attack or whatever, but it's like, no, we have to get ready for classes and all that, and they're trying to do that, and then Brody's like, no, I have to check something, and what happens is that he says he's going to stay behind for a little bit, and then he'll come to class, because it's his first day of class. Thing is that suddenly they have an attack, and his datacom is still connected to the to Galvanox's ship. So at that point, because it's connected still to the ship, he ends up having this report that basically says, like, in the next 10 minutes, Spinferno will be attacking. At that point, he knows he has to do that, and Mick even suggests maybe you should tell the others, and he says, no, it's alright, they need to study, let them do what they need to do. So then suddenly he goes out and he starts handling it, and he uses his metal attack, which is what we saw in the first clip originally, and the other one, like with the whole entire elemental stars, that's what we saw in the second clip. But this time what happens is that, yeah, so the metal attack is used. It fails miserably because he ends up slashing it, breaking the metal chain that he summoned, and Datacom's telling him all this. But like Spinferno has no idea how he even knew he was there because of the Datacom. That's how it makes sense now. So what happens is that then what do you call it? Then he ends up using a water attack to put out his flames, or at least he tries to, but Spinferno escapes. At that point, we end up seeing that apparently there are some students that were actually capturing footage of the Rangers fighting, and at that point, what happens is that the footage is then going viral. It reaches over 1 million views, and you see Victor Vincent complaining that they have 1,000,001 views. That's 1 million more than I had. And he said, yeah, and then Monty says, yeah, I was the one. It's like, okay. So, yeah. So then what happens is that, and so then Victor's like, what can I do to make me more popular and more recognized or whatever? And so then what happens is that they end up going to class, and they're doing a whole entire competition between teams. And when Brody's introduced or whatever, he says, "Hi, I'm Brody," and then the teacher's like, "Okay, well, that's about it." And the thing is that the others also notice that he's actually fought, and they're like, "Why did you fight without us? Why did you not call us? Why did you not tell us?" It's like, you need to study. But anyway, they ended up doing a competition. But the thing is that he has his datacom, which tells him everything. Really, if he tells him something, then it will will give him the answer to something. So the thing is that he ends up using it. Victor Vincent notices that he's cheating with it, and he tells the teacher. The teacher says, "That's not how you, from where your school may have allowed you to do that stuff, but from where we are, that's considered cheating. That's not allowed. Shouldn't take it away." But basically, he can't use it anymore, and he was using it like crazy. So what happens is that at that point, Victor's like, "It can tell you anything, huh? Interesting." And so then at that point, what happens is that there's a hole inside Brody's bag, and what happens is that the bag ends up like the datacom falls out of the bag. Victor, Vincent, and Monty find it. They then ask the device, what can I do to be more popular? And then the Rangers, and the thing is that it says destroy a monster. Fair. So at that point, they end up dressing up as superheroes, although Monty's really the camera guy and Victor's the one that's trying to be the superhero. So he ends up going to deal with Spinferno. Spinferno is fighting him, and the thing is that Victor doesn't really fight. He just takes out like a fire extinguisher and tries to blow it at the monster. The thing is that it first doesn't work, and then he aims it wrong, and he aims it himself, and so all the liquid comes out of it at his face or whatever. At that point, Spinferno spins the roll around, notices the datacom, and says, "Huh, that's how the Red Ranger knew that I was coming, huh." So then at that point, Spinferno takes it after he whips away Victor and Monty. And at that point, we end up seeing the Rangers are going to be fighting Spinferno. But the thing is that the four of them, including Brody, go to fight Spinferno. Brody actually tries to look for his datacom, and Mick ends up basically saying, like, who is the one that got us out of the spaceship? Who's the one that did this? Who's the one that did that? And the whole idea is that Brody's been doing everything. It wasn't even the datacom, so you can sure the datacom can help sometimes, but not everything. So in other words, Mick basically gives him words of wisdom, and he goes back with the team fights. What happens is that they end up fighting Spinferno. He also fight some Kubots, and eventually Brody and Preston end up fighting Spinferno. And when Spinferno says, "I have your datacom, Red Ranger," and he's just like, "I don't care anymore. It's not important to me. What's more important to me is my team." Then he ends up fighting Spinferno, and they end up doing a whole bunch of attacks. They use water. They use fire. They use grass at certain points. They use all the different abilities. And what happens is that at one point Calvin distracts him by putting him up to a race. Suddenly the four others decide to use a trap, which was to use the forest ability to bind him in, and then use the fire ability to burn him out. Eventually, what happens is Inferno is destroyed. Then we get to see. Then what happens is they end up doing their judging thing, whether or not Spinferno will grow, and this time he doesn't grow, and that's nice to know that there is that opportunity, that there is that change, and that's important. So what happens is that he is not chosen to grow. So then what happens is that a Skull Gator, which is which is one of their bigger monsters, sort of like the Vivazords from Dino Charge, same idea basically. This is their equivalent. So the Skull Gator ends up fighting them, and they end up using their individual Zords, and then what happens is that Brody's like, well, I think we've come together as a team, and I think that our Zords can too. And so then like Haley's like, yeah, Haley says, you mean a Mega Zord? Yeah, a Mega Zord. And so then what happens is that they combine them together, and you see all the Zords combine, and then the thing is that it needs to be powered up. So they have these special master stars, and these master stars give them the master mode ability. So then what happens is that they end up fighting Skullgator using their master mode abilities, which gives them new armor, new swords, and new everything, and they become more powerful. And again, it's an exclusive Megazord mode feature, so it's not something you're going to see necessarily in outside of the Megazord. They're never going to fight with it outside of the Megazord. It's interesting to note that it's so early. Personally, a lot of people, including myself, were expecting the Megazord mode to come in maybe, I don't know, towards the end of the fall season, but I guess they decided, you know what, once we get the Megazord, let's just do it right away. That also begs the question, does that mean that when it comes to the Super Ninja Steel season, is there going to be an additional mode? Is there going to be are they going to give like each of them like the Red Ranger's ability? I mean, I'm just saying this just because usually the super modes tend to be put in play in some way during that season. So I would imagine they're going to do something, because why else would they call it Super then? And they always do something. So I'm going to be very interested to see what they do. Personally, overall, I think that then after that, it was good. What happens is that then I haven't gotten done. That's why I was like, personally, overall, I was like, wait. Then what happens is that they're back at the school, and suddenly a viral video is showing, and that is Victor, Vincent, and Monty's video. That video has gotten over 4 million hits, 4 times as much as the Red Ranger's video. So then what happens is that Victor's like, "You're a genius, Monty," and so then he ends up becoming super popular, and they all laugh, and the episode ends. Personally, overall, I really like this episode. It was a good episode. A lot of stuff was introduced. I'm going to be very curious to see how things will progress in the show. I'm liking it so far. Next episode is going to be a Preston-focused episode. Obviously, this one was a Brody-focused episode. Preston is next. It will be interesting to see how they do Haley and Calvin and eventually Sarah. The reason why I say Sarah will probably be last is because I've already looked into what the episode titles are, and Preston's definitely next. I think I don't remember if Calvin or Haley come following that, or if it's the reverse, but I know that Sarah's like probably the last of them. It should be interesting to see. I am definitely looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure Haley's episode, Sarah's episode is going to be episode 7, and then 8 is going to be when Gold is introduced, and 4 I already said. So we'll figure that all out. I'm liking it so far. I think that this is a good show so far. I'm liking what they're doing. I'm thinking that this is definitely one of the better ones they've done in a while, and I really hope that this turns out to be an awesome season that we'll be able to look back on. And also the continuation. I really hope the continuation is good, because Dino Charge was really popular, but Dino Supercharge really kind of fell short in a lot of areas, and people kind of lost interest when it came to the secondary season just because it wasn't as good. So I'm really hoping that the second season can keep up with the success of the first one, if it really does choose to be a really awesome season like it so far has been. I'd love to know your guys' opinions below. Did you like this episode? What was your favorite part? What theories do you have for the future of this show? Are you liking things so far? What things do you think need to be added or changed? Do you like the Mega Mode? Not the Mega Mode, the Master Mode. Do you think it's cool? Do you like Master Modes in general? The Megazord modes in general. Are they awesome? Are they meh? Leave your comments below. Let me know in the comment section. So see you guys until then, guys. I'm Crazy Sarah 71. Check out my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and yeah. So and subscribe.